Welcome to Instructions. I'm Bob.
And I'm Anthony.
No, I'm Josh.
Hey, I'm Forby.
We're all here again. If you're watching the video, you can see all four of us. We all four are here, and we all four have a set to build. We went to Target and bought
Target.
And bought Lego sets, Lego brick sets, Legos.
Multiple sets of Lego bricks.
Yes, at lunch.
Legos.
I bet that was really loud in that microphone.
It probably was.
Man.
I am building the Avengers War Machine Buster. If you're watching, this is the Hulkbuster War Machine, which didn't actually exist in the movie. Kind of a bummer.
I am building the Lego Technic Corvette. This is the microphone. The ZR0? Is it a 0?
ZR1.
ZR1?
Yeah, it says right there.
Oh, that's a 1. I'm looking at it right there. It looks like
Oh, it does kind of look like a 0.
So I'm not going crazy. But anyway, I've always loved Corvettes, so this one spoke to me.
I'm making the new Martian set. This is their new space introduction. It's like a shuttle and a little helicopter thing and a little rover. So we'll see how much of this gets done today, but it's the new Mars sets.
But it does not include Martians. He said it was the Martian set.
Well, there
It
are
has
two
no Martians in
astronauts
it.
here in different suits. So there's a white one and an orange one. And for continuity of space travel, I would imagine they would have the same suit. So this could hint that there was somebody already on Mars and they developed their own suits. When they're coming together in this blissful scientific utopia that they have here on Mars.
I like the story you just built. It's good.
Immersive.
What are you making for me?
I have the Batmobile.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
I think it looks really cool. It's more like the Batman Returns, or like the original Batman.
Michael
Batmobile.
Keaton's Batmobile.
Yeah, that one. Not the. What was the Batman Begins one? The
Oh, the tumbler?
tumbler.
Yeah.
It's a jumper.
It did jump. It jumped more than
That's
a
why I
tumbler.
wanted to call it jumper.
It's has a motorcycle inside of it, or. Yeah. So Forby's in town visiting.
Bag. Sorry, that was obnoxious.
Bag dump. And so we thought we would record. We didn't record last week, so this is kind of last week's show. This week, I think. Is that right?
I don't know.
I don't know. We lost track. We don't really have anything specific to talk about, so just kind of throw it around, see what's up. And also, I said it would be fun if everybody, once we sat down, everybody think of a question to ask the person on your left. And it doesn't have to be a personal question. It doesn't have to be about that person. It could be anything. But it would give us something. We also have some pros and cons, right?
We have a few.
So you want to start with pros and cons?
We can.
Are we going to chime in on our responses to that person's question, or is it just that person?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The rules are
People
loose.
like order here.
That's going to be pretty tough with bunches of bag
Don't
dumps.
make your Legos
Yes.
touch my Legos. They're the same color.
Ooh.
You got a red one. I don't think I have any red ones.
I bet you do.
You do now because it just crossed over the...
Let me look up our pros and cons. So we decided we're going to start with some?
Yeah. Maybe
Okay.
if we have some.
Yeah, I sent a whole bunch. Jazz Fusion. Let's start with that. Y'all even know what that is?
Do we want to
Oh,
define
yeah.
that?
I mean, there's specific bands that come to my mind that I'm big fans of, like Dirty Loops and Snarky Puppy.
You're just making up words.
This was my suggestion also, so.
Oh.
I love Jazz Fusion.
I
It's a
see.
pro.
That's cheating.
No, it's not. I went back in Discord and found it from last week.
Somebody had to ask it, I guess. I don't know. Personally, so modern jazz is one of those things that I appreciate for what it is, and I understand, not that I understand how to do it, but I understand the complexity of jazz and like what, that there's a lot of talent, skill, and creativity that goes into it. It's just not a thing that I enjoy listening to. And so
But you know how to appreciate it.
I appreciate goodness. I appreciate it for what it is.
You acknowledge it.
I acknowledge that it exists and needs talent. It's just not something I enjoy listening to.
I like jazz music.
I'm talking about modern jazz. Be specific.
I don't know what modern jazz is. The only modern jazz I know is that like silly spoof album that the guy who does the voice of Bob from Bob's Burgers does. It's amazing. He has no idea how to
I
play.
didn't know that was him.
Yeah, it's H.
Yeah.
John Benjamin.
Oh yeah.
We were trying to think of his name the other day.
Yeah, so he has this like spoof comedy / jazz album where he sells his soul to the devil so that he can be a jazz pianist, but he didn't specifically ask for talent. So it's this like really nice jazz band with the horns and everybody playing and stand-up bass, and then he's just like blink, 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 blink on the piano, and he's trying his best. And jazz music is just sloppy enough where you kind of can't tell that he sucks at the piano. And it's really
impressive.
funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So I mean, I don't. Other than that, that is modern jazz because I discovered it last year.
I don't know if modern jazz, maybe I'm using the wrong term, but I feel like I would think of modern jazz as anything kind of like post big band and the blues jazz mix of the early part of last century. And so I think of anything past that, but maybe that's the wrong terminology. I don't know.
I think I picked the wrong set to do for this today
Yeah.
because none of the bags are labeled, and I'm already into 2
Oh
bags.
yeah.
Forby,
thought
do
about
you
that.
like jazz?
I do like jazz, and I do like jazz fusion. I've heard of I've heard of Dirty Loops.
They're
I've
Swedish.
heard them, yeah, and they're just absolutely crazy. I mean,
Mind-boggling.
the musicianship. I mean, it's kind of a I don't know. It's kind of a show off a little bit. I mean, like they're all of them are just masters at what they do, and they're kind of all going off, and they have their little solo sections in the songs, and they do some like incredible covers of some other songs too. I hadn't heard of the Puppy one.
Snarky Puppy?
Yeah, but
If you think Dirty Loops is good,
I started listening to them, and also they have like 20 people
Yeah.
in the band.
Whoa.
And but it was really good. It's also it varies, at least what I was listening to, it varied pretty widely.
it's super different. Like
Yeah.
weird time signatures and just mind-boggling musicianship and some instruments you wouldn't expect in a band like that. But
Yeah.
the fact that it's like, how many people? How many did you say? I don't even remember how many.
20?
It was a lot. I just saw a photo, and it had a lot more
There's
people
like
than I
20 people.
expected to be
Yeah.
in the band. But I liked what I heard, and I do like Dirty Loops. I can't listen to them all the time because it's kind of a lot of music.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually listen to music in the background, but
Yeah.
I
They're like
like them.
Yeah, Dirty Loops is funny because they're like 3 people and Snarky Puppy's like 4,000. So
That's a lot of people.
yeah.
Oh, remember last week or last time we recorded, Josh, we were talking about bagpipes.
Yep.
We got a comment from someone that said he heard that episode when he was on his way to his bagpipes practice or something. I can't remember. They commented now. Anyway, apologies to that guy, that person. I don't know who you were.
Mad props to whoever can play them
Please
because
take no offense.
Yeah, I'm impressed by the bagpipes. I just, it's been ruined by association. So play those pipes loudly, sir. Just
Break the
not
association.
near me.
Not in here. All right. Do we have any other? Yeah, we got more.
we got a whole bunch. Let's see, flu shots.
I was of that camp where in the military it was mandatory. And they were like, you have to get a flu shot. And I was the person that was like, the flu shot makes me sick. It's stupid. And then I would go so far as to just, not get it. And then when it was forced, they did have you guys done the nasal one? Not the shot, but like the mist, the flu mist.
I don't think so.
So it's pretty much what it sounds like. Is this little syringe that like aerates and atomizes the stuff up your nose. So it's like nasal spray, but
Yeah.
a flu shot. And
know
I
that was
remember I had such a I don't want to do it because I'm being forced to do it type mentality that I would I'd make that sound whenever they would do it and then go around the corner and just shoot like a snot rocket of the flu shot out of my nose. Just like, I'm not doing it.
That sounds
Because
pleasant.
I just didn't trust. I have no qualms. I actually got the flu one time, like the legit flu, not just you feel gross.
Yeah.
And I was really mad at myself that I didn't get a flu shot and I got the stinking flu and I got my little son, he got the flu too.
Well,
And I got so mad at myself.
it's your fault.
Yep. So from then on, if I'm offered a flu shot that's not by the government or not forced on me by the government, then
Okay, Ron Swanson.
I'll do it.
There's a lot of things like that, though, that, if you're doing it because you want to rather than someone else wants you to, it changes how you react to it. I'm not a big fan of taking preventative stuff for stuff that I may or may not get, but I understand it,
Yep.
And, I mean, I'm not really worried about if I get the flu, if it ever were to get to the point to where it was actually dangerous for me, I would be at the hospital getting taken care of. And that would be on me because I didn't get to take a flu shot. But at the same time, getting one just as a precaution, sure, why not?
Yeah. I would like get them when they were easily accessible and readily available. Like they would do free flu shots for students at my school, and that was the last time I got a flu shot.
Yeah.
You know, I never really have gotten flu before, and I've gotten my flu shots like 4 times in my entire life. So, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't think I would like plan my day or go out of my way to make sure that I had it. But some people, it's just like, you have to do it. You're gonna die if you don't.
I just always forget.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I don't get them.
Yeah.
I just forget.
Ooh. What if there was a flu shot type ice cream truck situation that just roamed around the neighborhood with the siren on, right? With the ice cream truck noise.
What a disappointment.
Give you a one. No. You get ice cream. It gives you
okay,
a one
all
for one, right? It's like a. There you go. Whenever I run for public office, that'll be it. It'll be the flu shot truck.
The flu truck. That sounds like a place
You
I want to
get
go.
like a
Doesn't the Red Cross kind of do that
a
with
Choco
blood drawing?
Taco and a flu shot.
Oh yeah, it would have to have something along with it. It can't
Yeah.
just be.
No. It's not just like we're gonna stab you when the ice cream truck rolls around. You get it. It's a one for one.
What a terrible way to, like, hot summer day, you hear the ice cream truck, and you're like, yay! And you run to the street in front of your house, and somebody just jams you in the arm with a needle.
You're welcome. And drives away really fast.
You'll thank me later.
It's like the Bloodmobile gives you like free cookies and stuff. So
Yeah.
you're trying
Movie
to do
tickets.
your duty, and you get some
Duty.
Duty.
Well, that's an idea.
That's not a great one.
That was the thing you said. All right, what else do we have?
Water skiing.
I used to go water skiing when I was young.
I went for the first time not too long
Yeah,
ago.
that was like, what, a month ago or something?
Not
2
even.
months ago?
Yeah, that was my first time ever water skiing.
Water skiing.
was fun.
I think it's more difficult than you would expect it to be, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
yeah.
Like, it's a lot harder to control. Like, you can't just, like you're on the slopes and you can just shoot your feet that way and you go that way. It's like a lot of work to kind of like hold it to go all the way to the left or all the way to the right. But it's also been like 30 years since I've water skied.
I didn't find the controlling part to be difficult. The difficult part was just like staying strong enough to stay standing for more than 5 minutes.
It's an endurance. Like people look like they're having fun in like the movies, but yeah, to carve and to move around, it takes a lot of leg strength.
It takes a lot of
you get
strength just
tired.
to smile while you water ski and look happy, because it is fun, but you're just kind of grunting the whole time to yourself. I can do this.
Did you get slingshotted?
I kind of on purpose, and I totally like destroyed it. I was like, I'm gonna go outside the wake as the boat turned,
Oh, yeah?
and I went really fast, and then I couldn't hold on any longer, and that was my last run.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
Forby?
Well, as the driver, you can like maneuver the boat and make a nice turn where you can just slingshot. We used to get big tubes.
Oh, yeah, we would
And
do
you
that.
put
to
all the
people
kids on the
tubes.
tube.
Yeah.
And then
fun.
you can feel like when you're on the tube, you're like, that person's gonna try to kill me right
There
now.
it goes. And then all of a sudden you're going 90 miles an hour sideways.
Upside down.
Skipping off the top of the water.
10 feet
Past
in the air.
times.
Did you guys ever kneeboard?
Yeah.
I never tried that.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, just because it's easier.
Yeah.
You're basically sitting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed kneeboarding a lot more as a kid. It was easier to get standing up. It was easier to stay up, and then you could actually ride. Center of gravity is a lot lower, so it's easier to like get over the wake and stuff without toppling over.
That's cool.
And then when I met Jenny, she wakeboarded, which I had never
Mm-hmm.
done, and so I started wakeboarding with her in Florida some, and then I got okay at that, but we didn't do it enough to like really get better at it. You went wakeboarding with us some, didn't you, Forby?
Yeah, I was awful at it. It's just
Got to get
but
that
I mean,
rotation. That's the hard part.
it's just standing up is really the hard part, whereas kneeboarding or you're just kind of already down at the water.
Yeah.
And also with me, it was I was already bad at it, and I guess it's just the first time you go, but hitting the water so hard every time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really hard to like get back up over and over again. I mean, obviously, the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more you have fun. But I never crossed that threshold.
Yeah, and it seems like you would have to spend a huge amount of time, like the people that do wake skating, where it's like wakeboarding, but you're not in bindings, you're just standing on a big skateboard, basically. It's a wakeboard with a grip tape on the top, and you wear skate shoes, And so when you do that, you can do like kick flips and varials and all this crazy stuff that you would do on a skateboard, but you're on top of the water. And that feels like you are destined to fall a billion times before you land one of those tricks, and you got to hit the water hard every time, and that would be tough. Mm-hmm. And you would lose the board. Like you fall off,
Yeah,
the board's
really.
going to take off.
That's what I was thinking. Like it should float, I imagine.
Yeah, it does. But still, it's going to go away from you. So, all right, what else we got?
Let's see. How many more we want to do? 1, 2, 3, 7?
I don't know.
Stick deodorant.
Stick deodorant?
Yeah,
As
as
compared
opposed
to
to spray, I guess. Maybe gel versus
Does anybody
dry.
still use spray deodorant past middle school?
X.
No.
I don't think I've ever used spray deodorant.
I haven't.
I used Brute when I was in middle school. Brute was cool. I saw it in the movies.
Aren't you cool?
Yeah, I've only used... I mean, I guess there's other, like... I don't know. What other kind of deodorants is there other than stick deodorant now? Spray. But, like, people use, like, powder
roll
Water?
or
Yeah, I don't know.
patch deodorant. It's
You
like, I don't
use
know.
the, non-aluminum stuff, right?
Yeah.
I know that's a contested topic.
Yeah. And that's
I
one
guess
of those
that's like
things...
antiperspirant versus
Antiperspirant
deodorant.
versus...
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's, like, truly safer or the other one is more dangerous or anything, but it's like, if I'm going to be putting anything on my body every single day, I may as well go for the least invasive version of it.
Yeah.
You know, seems like.
So I did the same thing, but for a very different reason. It really wasn't about my health at all. But I found that the antiperspirant stuff, started to, not wear away, or like it was tougher to clean in terms of like it would just leave really weird stains.
It's like it's like paint.
Yeah,
Like dried paint.
yeah. So just help my shirts last a little bit longer.
There you go.
So when you and I, Bob, went to Nashville for the project with that college, we met up with Destin Sandlin. And I remember probably 10, 15 words into like this conversation. We were going to dinner, we were hanging out, and it was like, so do you use antiperspirant with aluminum in it? And I'm like,
Very important.
okay, here we go. So this is happening. Like, it's just one of those, like, the most random discussion topics. And we probably had a good 15, 20-minute conversation about different deodorant types.
And then, like, 3 days later after that, I was at the grocery store buying deodorant, and I took a video of all of the different ones that didn't have aluminum in them and sent it to him. I'm like, hey, have you tried all these? And I was like, yep, I've tried all those. They're no good.
That's awesome.
All right, what else we got?
We've got formal dinners.
Formal
Like
dinners.
maybe like a dinner party or a fundraiser.
Oh, like an intentional, we're
Like
all going to
fancy.
We're gonna dress
sit
up.
down.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think they're kind of fun. It's like a change of pace. Almost feels like a step back in time. You always see fancy dinners at big long tables and movies from times past. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, if there's free food, I'm usually there. So
If it has the word dinner in it.
yeah.
The formal part is what would get me. Like, sharing a meal with people, anytime. Great. I love it. If it has the word formal in it, then I'm less likely to be interested.
So just dinner.
Yeah, it's just
So
regular
just-
dinner.
Good old din-din.
So if you want to have Bob come over, just don't tell him it's going to be fancy.
That's right. I'll be the only one not in a tuxedo. I don't know. I think I would always go for comfort and like just feeling relaxed and comfortable in a situation. And so if something is set out to be formal ahead of time, it feels like I know I'm gonna be uncomfortable or less comfortable than I could be there. Personally.
Have you been to such an event to substantiate that point?
Anytime I've ever been to a wedding, you go into the thing after. What's the thing called after the
reception.
wedding? The reception. You go into that knowing like it's a celebration, but you're still dressed up. There's still going to be, a place you have to sit. There's certain types of napkins. There's certain stuff to it, and so weddings are great. Receptions are great, but I still go into those with that like I just want to sit down in my PJs and eat.
Okay, so I know that this was a pro or con. It started out that way, but I've wanted to talk about weddings, like publicly amongst people who I think similar than I do. I have to go to a wedding in September, and not that I dislike the people, I just don't want to go to weddings, and I don't really know why. It just seems like, again, kind of like one of those things that now with kids, like I have to keep 3 kids quiet in clothes that they can't get dirty in a celebration that's not about them. It just seems like for a family member that knows you have a bunch of kids, like, man, I love you, but I don't want to put you or me through that situation with kids. I guess maybe in the same lines with formal dinner thing. Like at a certain point in my life, that might have been kind of fun. But now with the infrastructure, that just sounds miserable. So I don't know how to not make this situation or a dinner party not be just miserable.
We went to a wedding not too long ago for the first time with our child. And it was in an old-fashioned, like, style chapel. It was really beautiful. But it was like the kind of pews that had the door on the end.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was like a replica of some old
box
chapel
seats?
from way back when, basically. And it was awesome because we just let our child roam around on the floor and locked her into the pew.
That is
Clever.
I mean, she was 13 months old at the time. She still made some noise, which was like, oh, okay. But, I mean, we were really close friends with people getting married and knew pretty much everybody there. So it wasn't that difficult. But weddings, I mean, I don't know. I enjoy seeing, celebrating with my friends, but I can kind of see where you're coming from.
I think I'm of the age now where everybody I know is already married.
Yeah.
And this is a family member who's getting remarried. So I'm like, yeah, we just like tell you I love you and congratulations and get you a crock pot and then save on the kids being locked in the thing.
Don't you mean an Instant Pot?
Well, I mean, from one perspective, you don't have to go. Like, you get invited to weddings, and we always make the assumption that because it's a wedding, that we don't have a choice. That it's something that if we are at all able to go to, we have to go to. And you can just not go to something like that for that reason. On the flip side, you were saying that, like, given the kids couldn't... I don't remember how you said it. Like, the kids are going to be at a place they don't want to be, and they're wearing clothes they don't want to wear, and it's good, But... fact of the matter is, going to a wedding that you don't actually want to be a part of or don't feel like going to is a pretty good example to a kid about doing something for somebody else for the sake of the other person.
So that's a noble thing?
I don't think it's noble. I think it's... And I say this from the perspective of someone who would happily
Take my place?
never go to a thing that I don't want to go to. Like, I am the first person to say, like, I don't want to go to that. And I'm going to be unhappy about the fact that I have to go because I don't want to go. But, I mean, there's certain things that mean... Being there means more to the person, and this I don't know who you're talking about, so it's not necessarily you. Being there means more to that person than not being there would mean to you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, depending on the situation, I could see it being worthwhile to go to, even though it's not going to be fun necessarily. We went to a wedding one time. Actually, our friend Dave and Sarah, and it was at this really cool like outdoor center kind of place or whatever. And our oldest was maybe a year, if I remember correctly. And he would not like be quiet, would not sit still. It was like one of those just truly terrible days as a parent where you can't control them, and they're young enough that they can't really tell you what they want, and it's just like ah! And so I spent the entire wedding outside with him. I saw 0% of a good friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And that was a bummer, but at the same time I knew that us being there as a family, even if I wasn't in the room, that was important to them. And being able to go to the reception, see them be happy in that moment, and have like them recognize that we were there for them, I think that means a lot. And also, like, the whole idea of the wedding, at least in the Christian wedding approach, is that you are there to commit yourself to supporting that couple and all the stuff that they do and all the stuff that they go through. And so showing up for that reason, even if it's loud and there's baby spit up all over you and all that stuff, I mean, it's still, there's a lot to that, I think.
Okay.
Guilt trip.
I wasn't meaning that as a guilt trip, but it's really easy for me to just not want to do things I don't want to do, and that's me.
Well, I think that
about
there
me,
is-
and so I have to step out of that.
I think there's a level of this that I am pre-planning my kids' misery
right.
and just using that as a scapegoat. Because, I mean, if we're playing the odds, I think that there's a high likelihood of them getting irritated and me getting irritated at them, and I don't like putting them in that situation. I think it's unfair to them that
Right.
we're going to go to a very adult thing that has nothing to do with them. It's not at Chuck E. Cheese, so you have to sit there and be quiet while people talk about stuff that's uninteresting to you. And it's very easy to kind of put the kids are going to not like it. The kids are going to be irritated, and yeah.
On the flip side, kids love dancing. I hate dancing, so that's another part of going to weddings that I really dislike, is being in that position where everybody's like, oh, come on, come dance. And I'm like, no, I absolutely hate this. Kids love dancing, and they love cake. So
we just hang out at the reception.
yeah. or you get through, from their perspective, you get through the wedding.
Like,
to
yo,
the reception.
There's cake.
Yeah.
And
There's cake at the end of this
There's
awfulness.
cocktail meatballs. You got to hold out.
So, you might be able to use
There we
that to coerce some good behavior or survive.
Brilliant. See, this is why we're together. This is why this works. This podcast exists for this reason. All right, what was next? Sorry, did we want to talk more about fancy dinner parties?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Forby, tell us your favorite fancy dinner party?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think that they can be fun, but they're not my favorite thing.
Why?
I mean, I largely agree with all the same things. I mean, it's kind of fun to dress up a little bit, but usually I think the wedding part with the dancing and stuff, for me, it's a little bit awkward and not really the most fun, but it's nice to have things to celebrate. It's nice to have things to do that are, a little bit out of the ordinary, or to all dress up fancy. Mm-hmm. So I can appreciate that.
Do you, I don't want to speak for you, but like me, I think you would be less likely to go into a reception and be like, it's dancing time. It's time to have a good time. And
That's
then
absolutely not me.
Yeah. So does it feel weird to you that when you go to a thing like that, everybody else seems to just absolutely love the fact that they're there? When I go to weddings, when Jenny has her family or friends have a wedding, they just love to dance and they love to party.
Yeah.
And they all have so much fun. And I'm so glad. But I feel like the old man who's just sitting there like, why are we here? I want to go home and watch TV. And it's like, why am I that way? Like, why is everybody else enjoying this so much?
I don't want to be part of your train. No, thank you.
Well, I mean,
Electric slide.
I think part of it is that it's assumed maybe that you're not having fun if you're not joining in with the fun.
That's true.
But to me, that's not really the case. I just don't really know how to look like I'm having fun if I'm not out there
You don't know how to pretend?
dancing. Because I'm usually fine. I'm fine just kind of sitting there and enjoying and being there, watching, celebrating, usually eating. But
I think there's something to that. Like you talk about supporting the people at a wedding. Like you're being there. Like I love that you all are having this much fun. It makes me happy to see people enjoying themselves. I don't enjoy the act that you guys are doing. I just really think it's great that there are people that can be having this much fun together.
Right.
So just don't ask me to do it.
All right, what else we got?
We have... My phone keeps locking.
I mean, that seems like a bad thing, but depending on if it's intentional, I can see that being a pro.
What?
Oh, that wasn't a pro and a con. Sorry.
Coffee cups that look more like a thing than a cup. So I was at the store the other day and I saw a coffee cup that was cow spotted and it had 4 little feet on the bottom that were the udders. It was rather interesting. I think I've done something wrong here.
Huh.
My wife has a coffee cup that she got from Maker Faire a year or so ago, and it looks like a monster, like a tree kind of monster. Like it has additional clay. It's a little sculpture that you happen to drink coffee out of. I think it's cute. I think it's neat, but I will never reach for that one.
Yeah. We have one that I think Jenny got at the same time, and it's a little octopus squid type cup. It's got tentacles and a face. Yeah, same thing. It's cute. I wouldn't grow for it. Partially because it's half as big as every other coffee cup we have. And I'm just going to have to fill up twice as often. So.
It's to help you portion control your coffee.
Yeah,
intake.
I guess it could be. I mean, but that seems like a very utilitarian. I just want a big vessel.
Big old mug.
I want a vessel that I can fill with coffee and just have it. As long as it's big, I guess I don't mind that it's shaped like something else. What would be the oddest shaped taco? Taco?
Taco?
What would be the oddest shaped? I guess I was thinking taco.
Yeah, how about
coffee
taco?
cup that you could have. That would be a taco shaped coffee cup. It would be very difficult to drink out of.
It would be weird if you had a coffee cup, but it was shaped like a taco, but wide. Like it was just it was like a
boat?
6 or 8 inch. Yeah, it was like a boat, but then it had the handle on the side, and then you would have to try to figure out how.
2 handles, one on each end.
Ooh, like
Hey.
a chalice?
I don't. Maybe it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. We don't know.
I think you just invented something for me.
Yeah.
Now, I remember going to a friend's house when I was younger, and these aren't coffee cups. They just had their like regular dinner glasses, but they were square. And drinking out of them felt so weird. You had to like drink out of the corner of it.
Yep.
It was odd. Yeah. So, I like my round coffee cups.
Nice. What else?
Book clubs. I've never really been a part
I have
of
no
one. So.
experience with the book club.
Same.
Okay, let's do a different one. Speed limits.
Ooh. All right, so there's the thing about me.
Why did I look right at you as soon as I said speed limits?
It has to do with the law.
I knew that was going to.
I'm not fond of most things that have to do with the law. So speed limit, like if everybody's driving the same speed safely and everybody's going where they're going, I think the law should reflect the things that actually happen rather than trying to enforce something that would be forced. Like whatever, let people drive as fast as they need to drive safely. If everybody's driving together, like it, I don't know. I'm gonna get on a big soapbox and a tirade about the law. I love the law, but I was not there when the laws were made, so I feel like I'm at some disadvantage. But like there are states and there are countries where there are no speed limits, yet everybody's okay. Like everybody agrees that we can all travel and exist under these conditions, whether that's at 2 miles an hour, which is ridiculous, or 100 miles an hour. Like everybody can be okay. It's not like, oh, well, you're dangerous, so you have to drive 20. Like that doesn't make people safer. I think the pretense that a law makes somebody act a certain way rather than just good order and self-preservation.
I feel like speed limits are making up for neglect on the individual's part. You know, which is kind of what you're saying. But like, if a person is not aware enough to realize that they are in a neighborhood where there are gonna probably be kids walking around, if they're not aware of that, they're not gonna think about the fact that they should be going 20 miles instead of 80 miles an hour. But that situation exists whether they realize it or not. So the law is probably in place to help safeguard against someone who's not aware of their surroundings. And I would rather have, even though I am kind of with you, I would rather have that in place than not in place for the safety of innocent people who just happen to be like riding their bike or walking their dog or whatever. And some joker's like, there's no speed limit. It's all up to me.
Yeah, but I think
80
that
miles
that
an hour
is.
down my street.
I think that it's a speculation based on
That's a
kind of
speculation.
some
No, that's based on my
experience.
own teenage driving experience.
Well, I think that those people are going to act that way regardless of a speed limit. I think that everybody tends to drive a. This is going to be a characterization, but I feel like it's valid. That everybody will tend to drive like a normalized speed. And if that is 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit, then everybody's breaking the law, or you can just move the speed limit. Like, I think the enforcement of a speed limit just for the sake that, like, that sign says a thing, well, is that the most appropriate? Because, I mean, there's one of the back roads on the way to my house that goes from 45 to 20, like, in an instant. And so the moment that you pass that sign, legally, you can be fined and given a ticket. I think that's ridiculous. So I think that yes, you are going to have people that want to hot rod and showboat because they're dumb and they're irresponsible, but you're going to have that regardless of a speed limit situation. And so I think if you were to erase all of the signs, people are going to generally drive in their lanes. There's speed lights every so often. So I think that it will just kind of work itself out. If you need to drive 100 miles an hour on the highway to get somewhere, that has no bearing on me.
There is two different things. I feel like we're just taking over, and the other two guests are not really talking through it.
I don't
But
really have much to say on this one, so.
I think like having a speed limit on the highway, that seems a little ridiculous. That should be a place that it's about travel. It's about getting relatively straight path to where you need to go as fast as possible. Driving through a neighborhood, that feels like that should have some sort of governing thing. Because, I mean, I guarantee you, all of us at some point have been going faster than we should have in a neighborhood, and you see a 20-mile-an-hour sign, and you're like, oh, I should probably slow down a little bit. And not because you were doing something wrong, not because you were showboating. You just weren't showboating. You just weren't thinking about it. Right? So I could see maybe those two are separate, possibly. I don't know. Or maybe it's not a law. Maybe there's just here's a recommended speed sign.
Well, there are a lot of places that have like a universal speed limit in town. Like within city limits, the speed limit is 25 or 35. Like when you enter the town, it's posted placard on there. So I don't know. I have my views on things like law enforcement, and speed limit is one of those things that just kind of like is a way for someone to get you, even though you're not doing anything wrong. You went over a sign. You're like, well, okay, so
yeah.
Like I'm not harming anybody. There, I am being able to, responsibly mitigate risk. And I know someone can say, well, that's you. That's not everybody. And then I would counter with, yeah, that speed limit still says 20, and people are still going to go 80 because that's what they do. I got hit by somebody going 65 and a 25. That sign is not going to make that person act responsibly. It's going to keep the innocent people innocent, or keep the people that actually care about those things, keep them honest. And I would say that regardless if it goes from 20 to 50, that person's going to drive responsibly regardless. So leave them alone.
Forby, thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I think that you're always going to have people that want to get there faster, drive faster, or like push a number. I think that's just always going to be the case. But I do think that it's helpful to set standards for safety, or for like coming around a corner and this turn is 45 or something like that. I think that those are helpful. But yeah, I don't know. I'm mostly pro speed limits, although I've had a lot of tickets.
I think they may be excessively low in some places, but like I said, within neighborhoods, it makes a lot of sense to me. But
it is weird, like the 10 over sort of agreed rule, where as long as you're on a highway the speed limit is 70, everyone's going 80, and you get pulled over at 81, which may not. I mean, they can pull you over at any speed above, but it just seems like they don't, or it's generally accepted that they won't. I don't know if it's like it's not worth their time, or if just that's how it's happened to be now. But that there's always an effective 10 over for.
I got pulled over by a highway patrolman in Florida near Tallahassee. So if you ever drive through Tallahassee, you're gonna get pulled over probably. But this highway patrolman, I was in the right lane, he was in the left lane, and he was like bumper to bumper with me, driving exactly beside me. And so I was like, well, I'm going to drive the speed limit because this is uncomfortable, and this person just staring at me. And I was like, well, maybe they want to merge. So I slowed down, and he slowed down with me. And then he got, what happened? I moved out of the way, or I went a little bit faster so they could get behind me because this other car or something. I don't remember what happened, but this guy came and pulled me over. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you pulling me over? And he's like, you were going 85, or 5 miles an hour over. He was like, if it was 4 miles an hour over, that would not have been against the law. I'm like,
whoa.
Interesting. Yeah, straight up. And so I had a pickup truck at the time, and I got bigger tires put on my pickup truck. And someone told me that it will mess with your speedometer, so I got it read on a tachometer. And my speedometer was 6 miles an hour off. And I'm the kind of person, I'm going to contest everything I think I've been wrong. So I contested the ticket, and I'm like, Your Honor, that guy said everything 4 miles an hour and under is okay. This thing says my speedometer's off by 6. Technically, I was 2 miles an hour under his threshold. And he was like, yep, you win, and threw the ticket out.
You win.
Yeah. But again, it was one of those times, like, why did you feel the need to prove the fact monetary? Like, that could, depending on your situation, you could have gotten a ticket, and you could have never been able to pay that ticket, and you would have been in financial debt to society for going a couple miles an hour over some fictitious limit. And that bothers me, like, to no end, that kind of system exists that doesn't need to be that way. But I'll get off that soapbox.
Well, I think there's probably some middle ground in there where, maybe that little 4 mile thing is to allow people to go faster, but still give them an out or a reason to be able to grab people if they need to. You know, if there's somebody who's driving dangerously and they're going fast, they can say, "Oh, well, you were going too fast," just so we can stop you and try to slow down the possibility of, you know, somebody else getting hurt or something. I don't know. What else we got? Boop, boop.
So let's keep on the car-ish theme. I mean, you drive cars. Subwoofers in cars. Thoughts? Pro con.
Like bumping super loud?
Like whatever. Like I used to have one. I had it because I like having a full range of sound for the sake of quality. I was never rattling my license plate off, but yeah, I don't know. I prefer them in a good situation, and it's fun to install.
I have had one. I had one in high school because a friend of mine was selling one for pretty cheap, and just drop it in I think it was the first car I owned. I think I'm a con. I don't think I really enjoy. I certainly don't really enjoy them now because whenever I experience them now, it's like the cars that turn it way up too loud, and it's rattling the dishes in my house.
2 miles away.
Yeah. I think I did enjoy having that range of sound in the car, and that's what I would kind of tell myself. But I think that generally now I don't really need it. And I really didn't like that it took up my trunk.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some cars I think have them sort of built in where you do get in a premium sound package. It's sort of like built in, or you can get the enclosures that kind of like fit into the sides of the trunk a little bit, or a little custom fit for certain cars. But this was just a one speaker enclosure, but still pretty much took up most usable space in my trunk, and I could not really like fit anything else in there. So I don't really think I enjoyed it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever. Well, the car that we have now, we got a new car recently, and it's the first one that it's been noticeable. Like, there's not enough road noise in the car that you can go, oh, this actually sounds pretty good. Like, wow. Every other car I've ever had, it's like, oh yeah, I think there's a sub, but I also hear my tires. Yeah. So I'm not really sure, but so yeah, it's never seemed worthwhile as an addition to me, personally.
I've never had the money for it.
Yeah. I got mine when I was turning 16.
Where's this go?
And I had my first job, and back when all the money I made was like disposable income, and I still have it. It's just sitting in my closet doing nothing right now.
Sounds great though.
Yeah, it sounds awesome in there.
Closet.
Yeah, it's not taking up space in my trunk, so.
I have one bag left. So, do we have any more? I can finish my.
I'm sure I could scrape up one more here.
Look at that cool space shuttle.
I know.
know.
The space shuttle's awesome.
Meanwhile, I have made a differential.
Good job. That's really nice.
Let's see. How about homemade pizza?
Ooh.
That sounds fun. My wife literally just texted me. She's like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? I think I just got my idea.
Homemade pizza. I think you got to do it right.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do it right, it's probably not worthwhile.
What's right?
Not bad.
Okay. Like square pizza?
Well, okay, so this is this is not a dog on my wife at all. Okay, she's been making her own bread recently, and she's figuring it out. There's a big process to that. And so she used some of the bread that she was making to try to make pizza dough, and it wasn't the right kind of bread for that. So the pizza tasted good, but it didn't have a crust. It had a bread, you know. And it just, as a homemade pizza, it wasn't the thing because of that. It just wasn't too crust yet. She just hadn't gotten to that part. So from that perspective, I'd say, nah, not really. But at the same time, I've had really good homemade pizza that was excellent and had really good crust. So I guess that's what I mean.
I don't think that I've had a homemade pizza that tastes as good as pizza that I bought elsewhere. I just don't. I've never. I don't think I put the effort into it that people that really make pizza.
But you've made it yourself.
Yeah, but it's been just like maybe like the crust that you buy, but then just kind of like put stuff on it, heat it, and I don't know. I feel like I've much more enjoyed pizza elsewhere, like at an Italian restaurant or something like that.
mean, I usually enjoy food that other people make for me more than stuff I make for myself.
There is something to that. Even
Yeah.
sandwiches, like someone else makes a sandwich,
Yeah.
like it tastes better.
Because I'm unwilling to put in a lot of effort on food that I eat. It's just like I have to eat something, so I'll do as little work as possible. But somebody else will put more time and care into it, and it tastes better. That's me. So are you gonna have pizza tonight, Anthony?
Probably. We have pizza at least once, if not twice a week.
Oh, yeah.
Not always homemade. Sometimes it's just an Aldi pizza thrown in the oven, but those aren't half bad.
We rarely have it homemade, but we do have it at least once a week.
It's just too easy.
It's too good.
You want to do one more?
Sure.
All right. Emojis.
Pro.
Yeah.
I think that they're, I mean, it seems like they're here to stay. Like they've kind of been introduced with all the texting that goes around. I think that they can be helpful, but they can be overused. But generally pro.
Cool. Yeah, I like them. I think communicating over text message for me has become less and less like appealing because it is hard to express like tone of voice or emotion.
Yeah.
Emojis definitely help with that, but they're also unprofessional. Like let's say you're texting somebody that you're getting coffee with for the first time, or back when I was freelancing, I would try to communicate that I'm excited to meet with this said client, but I don't want to send them like a thumbs up. Well, thumbs up, it's kind of on the line, but like a smiley face or excited poop emoji or anything like that.
Yeah, that's probably a bad choice.
Yeah.
There's a responsibility to using emoji, I think.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that I was really resistant to. It was one of those. Well, all the young kids are just using, emojis,
Cartoons.
Yeah, it's
Saying
just kinda
YOLO and
silly
stuff.
yeah.
Use your words.
But it got to where it does add a little bit of context that is lost, and I mean we do so much more textual conversation than we used to, in all different ways through email and through text and everything, and it does add that little bit of context that is lost. Well, maybe not all of it, but it helps,
Yeah.
And especially things like the thumbs up is something I use more than probably anything else.
Yeah, you do.
Because it feels like a good way to, if you ask me a question and my response is the word yes, that could be like, yes, or yes. You know what I mean? But you see a thumbs up at the end of that and you're like, oh, well, he's not angry. He's not grumbling that. It's like, yeah, cool. Sounds good. So I think it's just that little bit of context is helpful.
Yeah.
And then anything past that, my wife and I will just randomly send strings of emojis that are totally unrelated to each other, and that's just kind of funny to get a whole bunch of fruit in a row, and whales and stuff. But
And a piece of sushi.
yeah,
Cool.
I love communication with a group of people that can be as quick and snappy and as direct as it possibly can be without a whole lot of words. And I think that's why like a lot of us work together really well, just because we can say a lot without saying a whole lot. And I think when you find that relationship with somebody where they can send you just an emoji and it perfectly sums up what they're trying to say without actually saying a whole bunch of words and you just kind of get it, I think that is a beautiful relationship. And I like them for that fact. I think it's vetting. So if somebody can send whatever piece of communication they want in the most explicit way possible, and I get their intent, then that's a wonderful match. And if that's a rolling eyes emoji or a whatever, then great. I don't need a lot of words. Say what you want to say in the shortest way possible, and I'll be happy.
put some sushi at the end of it.
Like it's kind of like that insider joke. Like there's times when we're all working in a shop and we just kind of do because we get it. We work that close together. And if someone can convey an entire paragraph with with a throwing up emoji that's like perfectly timed, it makes you happy that you have that silly relationship that you don't need to say a whole lot.
Yeah, because when you interact with somebody new, I tend to over-explain, communicate a
That's
little bit.
exhausting over text messages.
Yeah. So I'm a fan, I'd say, in moderation.
Cool.
I'm still not done with my bag, and Josh is.
I'm
you
done.
Oh, well.
Go away.
Forby's.
I could use a few more hours.
Glad it's not just me.
Okay, so
I'm not
which
a
one of us
professional
is
at
going to
this.
read a book out loud on the podcast?
Yeah.
Do we have any more?
Let's see.
I just want to finish this so I can go back to my Star Wars set next
Bow
week.
ties.
Con!
Really?
Sorry.
Actually, I've never-
Brandon, if you have to take down my volume there.
I mean, there's clip-ons, or there's wood ties,
Those
bow
are
ties.
Yep. There
I've
are.
seen those around. I don't have any bow ties, and I can't remember the last time I've really worn one, except for like maybe band in school or something, and that was like a clip-on kind of thing.
I don't think I've ever actually worn a bow tie. I like the way they look, but I've never taken the time to learn how to tie one.
I think I had somebody gave me one of the wooden ones. Somebody that used to make them, and I wore it in somebody's wedding because the like everybody was wearing bow ties, like it was a thing. And I don't remember the situation, but that's the only time I've ever worn one. And it just seems, I mean, ties in general are just one of those completely pointless.
Yep.
Like they do nothing, and I don't understand them.
It's an accessory.
That serves no purpose. It carries nothing. Maybe there's some secret to ties that I just don't understand. But like, what if people maybe they hide their knives in their ties or something?
So,
straws? I don't know.
When I
There's
worked
gotta
at
be a purpose
Lockheed,
to 'em.
like a lot of people wore ties, and it was their ability to like express themselves whenever they have to fit inside of a certain kind of structure, like a certain dress code. You want to wear a silly Looney Tunes tie or one with fish on it, like, oh, that guy's into fish. Like, hooray. Well, I had this one engineer that I worked with at Lockheed. He came up to me one day and he was like, I want to organize like some stuff to make everybody kind of like some more morale boosting things. I'm like, okay, that sounds neat because this place kind of sucks and it can drain the life out of you. So hooray for morale. He's like, how about every Friday we all wear bow ties? Like,
Sounds thrilling.
and he was an engineer from Georgia Tech, and I guess as like professional engineers, it was a thing that they did. They tried to dress fancy. I don't know if it's some Southern gentlemanly thing, but it was like it was a tradition that he tried to instill. And I remember I was so on board with this guy trying to do something for morale boosting, but that like, let's all wear bow ties. I went off on him. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Like, that is the most pretentious, preppy boy, dumb crap I have ever heard. Please don't ever come up with me with these stupid ideas ever again. And
you
I was
crushed
so
his
mad
soul.
at that idea about like, this is what's going to solve everybody's day is we should wear bow ties. And I remember just the thought of like, that's empty, it's pretentious, and you're going to look silly wearing a bow tie. And then I went back and I apologized to him because he was trying to do good. I'm like, don't come at me with bow ties as a way to try to make work life better. That's not the manifestation in my mind of making your job more tolerable to wear a bow tie.
It is like, I guess there is an association on my part with living in Savannah for so long, and I knew throughout the years I knew a lot of people who grew up there, and it's just part of the common dress and culture and stuff down there. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think there's an association there with a certain group of people that were not the normal nice people who just grew up wearing bow ties. They had a certain stigma to them, and so I think I don't really like that association. That's probably part of it for me. But I also think they just kind of look silly. And ties in general are dumb, unless you're carrying a knife or a straw inside your tie. That sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll do that next time.
Knife tie.
Knife tie.
/ straw tie.
A hollow knife tie. That when you're holding the knife in your teeth, you can drink a slushie.
We might be onto
So
something.
when Rambo gets thirsty.
Or not. All right. You guys got anything else?
We were going to ask each other a question.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering when we were
We
going to get to
passed-
that.
I don't know how much time we've been talking.
Like an hour. 55.
55 minutes? Make it quick.
Okay, Josh, go first. You brought it back up.
Man. What was your favorite subject in school that led you to art school? To Forby.
You're asking
That
a question
led-
to the person on our left.
Well, I didn't really have anything. So I didn't take art in school, so I didn't have anything that really led me to art school from school.
Well, how did you go to art school then? Was there something in school, a teacher or somebody that was influential on you that went, you know what, I'm going to go to art school thanks to whatever? Or it was just
It was
from a tiny Forby, you wanted to go to art school?
It was actually one of my fellow employees at a restaurant was going to go to art school for graphic design, and I was going to do computer science, and he was talking about graphic design a lot, and he was kind of showing me the stuff that he was doing, and I liked it, and I thought, this is kind of the stuff that I already kind of do, but I was just playing around with computers and just doing stuff in my free time. I've always drawn and stuff like that, but I didn't know that this was something that you could actually go to school for. So after he had kind of told me about it, and he also told me about this school down in Georgia. So that's when I thought, oh, how about that? And then that's what I did.
Right on.
So not really school, but some random guy at a restaurant.
All right, what's your question for me?
Bob, what's your favorite traditionally animated movie?
Ooh.
Traditionally animated.
So 2D, hand-drawn animated movie, not 3D.
Can I have two answers? One is for not traditional,
Yeah.
because that's the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
The first animated non-traditional movie is Kubo and the Two Strings.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
That movie is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And amazing. And there's tons of animated movies that I've never seen. It's for anybody that hasn't seen it, it's stop motion. That's why I say non-traditional. There's tons of animated movies that are famous that I've never seen. Like all the Miyazaki movies, never seen any of them.
Oh.
Not for any particular reason.
Yeah.
I just never have.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people love
excellent.
those, but I don't know them. Man, that's really tough. I don't know. I can't really narrow it down.
I mean, there are a lot of really excellent ones. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like your absolute
well,
favorite. But
I mean, we watched, when the kids were really young, we watched all the original Disney movies, all of the Jungle Book and Peter Pan and, all of those. And they're all not great, but also great in different ways. So,
yeah.
of those, say, we'll narrow it to Disney movies because that's all I can think about. Aristocats is a really cool. It has tons of animal movement that's like animated animals, a bunch of different kinds of animals. They go through cities. They go through, farmland. There's a lot of stuff on vehicles, and there's a pretty wide range of animation, and a lot of it's reused from. Whoa.
Excuse me. I got another
Reused from other Disney movies, which you
Disney
can start
does
to see.
that.
Yeah. But that's one of my favorite, just the amount of animation in it and the breadth of it, I guess. Yeah, I don't have a better answer for that. My question for Anthony:
Uh-oh.
have you ever seen Red Dawn?
Why did you have to ask me if I've seen a movie?
The original.
Because you're the original. Because you are way younger than me, and you're a film student.
Nope. You should have known before you asked me
I
a movie question.
did know. That's why I asked you.
So we could.
I wanted to shame you into watching Red. No, I'm just
I was
kidding.
really
It's
excited to
good.
answer
No,
your...
no, it's
It's good to see someone else the brunt of that, and not me.
It's been me
That's what
since,
this looks like.
it's been me since I started working here.
Anyway.
so no. I know that he's a lot younger than I am, and didn't watch a lot of '80s movies that are not super famous. I mean, you've seen a lot of the famous stuff from the '80s, but
Sure.
Red Dawn is one you should definitely watch.
Okay.
It's good.
It's I don't want to tell you anything about it. It's a teenage war movie. We'll go with that.
I did watch War Games for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
A month or two
It's
ago.
in that same the same vibe.
Is Matthew Broderick in it? Broderick?
Broderick? No,
No,
but
a
there's
bunch of people
other
that look like there's Matthew Broderick stand-ins.
Yeah.
If you were
Yeah.
gonna have an '80s movie and you had the casting call, this is everybody else who was in the lobby
Yeah.
while Matthew Broderick was being Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. Okay.
All right, you're up.
All right, Josh. So mine, I guess, is kind of a little more serious than the others. But you were in the Army, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when somebody finds out that you served in the Army and they say thank you for your service?
I mean, it's appreciated,
Yeah.
but it's kind of weird
Yeah.
because there are so many jobs that even when I was in the Army, I'm like, that person deserves a lot more praise than I do. Like your garbage man. Like you could do without a soldier or two, but you go a week without your garbage collector, you're gonna start hating life.
Right.
So I think that it was super popular, right? It currently is, and it's appreciated to, thank a serviceman for their service and get their 10% off at some stores, hooray. But that always made me feel weird because I think on a day-to-day basis, your job in the military is really tedious and sometimes really boring. And a lot of the stuff that's not like in the movies, it's a lot of the same repetitive nonsense. And so to be thanked for like, I remember somebody came up and like bought our lunch, and I was mowing the grass and like cleaning a toilet. And they were like, "Thank you for your service." And you're like, "My service today did not, did not equate to this praise that I'm being given by these strangers." But I mean, it's super nice. But honestly, I think that there are a lot more people in people's day to day that they skip over when they want to go out and thank a soldier or thank a whoever. Like, I think you should really look a lot more inward to thank the people who go about and make your life livable that you don't pay as much attention to. Someone got really upset with me because one of my neighbors, or it might have been a family member, I think it was a family member, gave my wife and I some, I think it was like Dunkin' Donuts gift cards or something. And I'm like, "Oh, neat." And my garbage man came up, and I walked out, and there was like 4 of them or so of these gift cards. And I just straight up like handed them to my garbage man. And I'm like, "Thank you guys for everything that you do." And I'm like, I'm in my uniform. And I remember that it was a family member got upset with me for doing that. I'm like, well, I'm going to re-gift as I need. But those are the people I think that are the real unsung like heroes in your life. And that may sound cliche or whatever, but I'm telling you, man, go one day without, or 1 week without that stuff that just piles up in your house.
Yeah.
And you will easily start thanking, those real unsung heroes in your life.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good place to end as any, I guess.
Sure.
Where can everybody find everybody? Forby, you're on the end.
I'm on the end. You can find me at
there.
Forby on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, Forby.
Forby. My name is Jonathan Forby. Forby is my last name. I go by Forby.
No, his name's Forby.
My name's Forby.
That's just the number 4.
B. That's how he is in my phone.
Yeah, it is in
It
mine
has
too.
The number 4 and the little B emoji.
Hey, look
Oh,
at
yeah.
that.
That's on your name.
Brought it all around.
Perfect.
Anyway, Josh.
I'm at Josh_makes_stuff everywhere.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
All unified.
Consolidation.
And I'm at Anthony Lee Rose on Instagram and Twitter. I'm starting to tweet more again.
Tweet.
Yeah. More like retweeting, but
Cool.
happening.
You can find me and all 4 of us at I Like to Make Stuff on all the stuff. Again, we brought it up the last few weeks, but we're going to be revamping the Patreon thing. If you want to help us out and get more behind the scenes stuff for I Like to Make Stuff as a whole, Patreon is the best way to kind of do that and get in now before stuff changes, maybe?
Yep.
Yeah, go to patreon.com/I Like to Make Stuff. Or don't, and just enjoy the show. That's cool too. Thank you for listening and watching. And look at Forby's fantastic.
Forby has a chassis.
It doesn't go yet.
it doesn't go yet.
It's the wheelless Batmobile.
Yep.
It looks like your War Machine is making a number 2.
He's doing squats. He's in the middle.
War Machine poo in the woods. Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, I have to get up and
Yeah,
push the
somebody's
button
got
now.
to push the button.
He
Local
doesn't
gadget
have-
arm.
He doesn't have any knees. Oh, wait, he doesn't. No, he has ankles.
Ankles.
Cankles.
He has no knees.
Ankles.
Was that on King of the Hill?
Iron
when that guy had
ankles.
his Hank's dad had his
I don't know.
like shins sewed to his thighs. He lost his legs in Korea, and so he just like hobbled.